Keep up with all the election commotion at ibtimes.co.uk.
We've come to Brighton, or more specifically the Brighton Pavilion constituency, where the ice cream is soft and the choice for voters, like the rock for which the town is famed, is hard.
There's a fierce battle between the Greens and Labour in Brighton Pavilion, a hub for creatives, writers and artists. The two large universities nearby also mean it's home to thousands of students. So there's a strong base of left-wing voters in the constituency, but they face a dilemma. Do they vote for the Greens, who stick rigidly to their far-left principles, or do they vote for Labour, a party with a genuine chance of forming a government but which compromises on some of its left-wing principles for the sake of getting things done? Brighton Pavilion is exactly the sort of seat that Labour needs to win in this knife-edge general election if it is to beat the Conservatives and form a government. We put it to Caroline Lucas, the Green candidate seeking re-election as the MP here, that a vote for her is a vote for a Conservative government because it would help keep Labour out.
Well, I couldn't disagree with you more. First of all, here in Brighton Pavilion, the Greens are ahead of both the Tories and Labour when it comes to the opinion polls, the pundits, the bookies. Everyone says that the Greens are on course to win Brighton Pavilion. So even if your only motivation were to keep out the Tories from Brighton Pavilion, the best way to do it is to vote Green. And when it comes to the national scene, the role of smaller parties is going to be more important than ever before. All of the polling suggests that neither Labour nor the Conservatives will have enough seats to form a government on their own, so they're going to have to talk to smaller parties. I've ruled out doing anything to prop up a Tory government, but what I can do is to work with a minority Labour government to really put pressure on them and bring about the policies that most people who are Labour supporters actually want to see. Things like bringing rail back into public ownership, things like not spending £100 billion on Trident, things like reinstating the Independent Living Fund for people with disabilities. These are all things that Labour frankly have sold out on. We need Greens in Parliament to put pressure on them to deliver the true policies that most people want.
Standing for Labour is Perna Sen, and she, unsurprisingly, rejects what Caroline Lucas is saying.
Caroline Lucas has no commitment to vote alongside the Labour Party on policies we propose. If she did, she would have been in the Labour Party. So this idea that she will go along with the changes we want is, I think, again, a false promise. What people get with me is knowing that I'm a local person. I'm interested in this city because I live here, not because I've come in from another country or another city and say, oh, I think I'll have that constituency, thank you very much. No, I care about the future of this city because it's my home, this is my community and my neighbours. And I will do what's best for them and for us. And I will do that as part of a team that can deliver, that can build the houses that we need, that can control rents in a way that people here are asking for, can build the schools that people need, and do things like get rid of the horrendous bedroom tax. It's a bit of a luxury to say we'll have an independent voice when people are going hungry and using food banks, being kicked out because of bedroom tax. They can't afford that luxury. Those who can think about it, but those who can't shouldn't be left behind.
In 2010, Brighton Pavilion elected Caroline Lucas as the Green Party's first ever MP, thanks to a surge in support for her from local students, removing the Labour MP in the process. Just a year later, the Greens took control of Brighton Council from the Conservatives, the first of any council the party has ever commanded. But the local Green Party has been damaged by infighting, a number of unpopular proposals like a sharp rise in council tax, and a dispute with striking binmen that left Brighton's streets littered with stinking rubbish. On the same day as the general election, Brighton will vote for a new council too. The Conservative candidate Clarence Mitchell thinks this, as well as a sharp fall in the number of students registered to vote in the constituency, will bolster his campaign.
I rather assumed we'd get a lot of national issues on the door. I thought it would be the NHS, it would be the state of the economy, foreign intervention, you name it. We've hardly had any of that. Everything on the door has been about the dire performance of the Green-led council. People that voted Green are even saying get rid of them because they've been such a disaster. They are idealistic in the extreme, we're all of us idealistic, but they are administratively naive. So basic core services are failing to be delivered, such as rubbish and recycling. There's huge congestion in the city centre because of their anti-car policies, which actually lead to CO2 emissions going up and the recycling rate going down. It would be a joke if it wasn't so serious. So to answer the question directly, it's predominantly been local issues on the door that we're finding. As a candidate for Parliament, obviously those are local authority matters, but I make it clear that I will act very closely with my council colleagues in making sure that all of these issues are addressed should I be elected, and what I want to be is a strong voice in Parliament for the city itself. For too long, Caroline Lucas, while she has worked hard, I give her that, and she's passionate about certain left-wing causes, They're all national or international. She's not fighting for the city. I would be a strong voice in Parliament putting Brighton first.
Brighton looks likely to be a close contest. Voters will be weighing up a number of concerns. Do Green supporters vote Labour here to keep the Conservatives out of a national government? Will the collapse in student voter registrations hurt the Greens and Labour while helping the Conservatives? How will the turbulent years of a Green council affect the general election? It's probably best left to the voters themselves to say.
So it was either going to be Labour or Green. I think in Kemp Town, it's probably, in terms of beating the Tories, Kemp Town will be better to vote Labour.
I'm going to vote Labour.
And why is that?
Because they care. I just think they care more.
I'd like to vote Green, but because we're in a very close call, I'm going to vote Labour. Basically, I'll vote for anybody to keep the Tories out.
I want excellent public services, but I don't want to pay any tax. So I'm really torn. So I've got a blue suit on and a red tie. I've got no idea what to do.
Maybe Green, maybe Lib Dem. I haven't decided yet.
We're quite similar. It's Labour or Green, but we're not optimistic, are we?
No, not really.
No, they all seem quite similar, so it's a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, the Green Party, the only one that seemed very different on the foreign policy side, but we'll see.